everyone. Qasim Abbas again. I'm nervous. My father was born in 1946 in Delhi, India. It was a time of great carnage and bloodshed. The British were about to leave India after 200 years of conquest and rule. And it was a difficult time. My father was born to a Muslim mother and a Baha'i father. His family was nervous. They didn't want to leave India. Their home and was in India. They owned property in India. But a mob came in one day and threatened their lives. And they left. They took a train all the way down to northern Pakistan, a city called Rawalpindi. And from there, they went south to a small little farming town called Sakhat. Sakhat was in the desert part of Pakistan. It was nestled in the Indus River. It was far away from the desert to maintain moisture. So it was a beautiful little quaint little town with a small little Hindu population that still was there. And my father grew up fast. He managed my grandfather's vinyl shop after school and saved a lot of money. He dreamt of going to Karachi, the capital of Pakistan, the newly founded country. And by age 18, he had saved enough money to make his way over there and join his uncle. But he was restless. He wanted to succeed. So he made his way to Libya at the time. That was a big deal for Pakistan, for a person growing up in Pakistan to have made it to Libya, which was an oil-rich country. He labored over there for 10 years, and his family at the time tried to find a reputable family, a girl from the city to marry him off to. And they found one, my mother, Zabeda. She was a graceful young woman. She was a daughter of an attorney. Her father had graduated before the partition from a very reputable law college in India called Aligarh. And her family agreed to the proposal, and my father was married in 1977. It was a time of great political upheaval in Pakistan. Up until mid-1970s, Pakistan had a democratically elected socialist government. But in 1976, it was overthrown by a US-backed military regime. And it was a difficult time. The regime was very misogynistic and Islamist, and it was suspicious of socialists and religious minorities. And my parents were all of those things. They were socialists. They were Shiite. They were urban. They were middle class. They were educated. They spoke English. They were liberal, and therefore they were targets of suspicion. Despite the difficult times that my parents found themselves in, they decided to have a family and give nurturing, raise a healthy family. By 1989, I was born. I was their fourth son, and Pakistan is a male-dominated society where having sons lots of sons is considered a sign of vitality and great luck. And so naturally, I became my father's favorite, or so he proclaimed. But he found something amiss when I was growing up. I didn't have boyish inklings. I didn't take keen interest in sports. I certainly didn't have any interest in women and girls. And I was instead cooking and gardening and sewing and spending time with my grandmother. And my father was anxious, he was scared, and I became a target of his anxieties and fears. He loved me, but conditionally. He would come home one day, or after work he would come home and he would pick me up and he would give me a kiss, and one day he called me Nalaik Banda. Nalaik Banda translates to adorably stupid. It was very conditional affection, and it kind of damaged me. I don't remember loving him back the same way as I did before I heard that term, Nalaik Panda. And to my family and everyone, it was just normal behavior. Oh, that's just so cute, Nalaik Panda. My father, by late 1990s, my family found itself in another crisis. Pakistan had a democratically elected government, not socialist this time, which was again overthrown by a military coup. And once the military coup came in and a new government was established, the U.S. backed it again. My father was looked at with suspicion all over again. He was a printing press owner at the time. He had a lot of cosmopolitan friends in Pakistan, and he would receive contracts from the Pakistani army to print state propaganda against India, and it was money, so he did it. But before the coup was planned and orchestrated, they pulled all those contracts, and my family was just left in financial constraints. We had a lot of debt. So my father contacted his sister in Florida. She was a U.S. citizen, and she sponsored him to the United States. And he made his way to the United States in 1999. He labored working at gas stations, trying to save enough money to pay our way back, our way over to the United States. While he was gone, I became closer to my grandmother. She became almost like a father figure to me. She had lived through the partition of India and Pakistan, the bloody partition. She had memories. She taught me about language, about history, and she sparked my interest in politics. She was a teacher, and she became a teacher in the 1950s in Pakistan, a woman who taught language arts. So while she was gone, she cultivated all these interests. While my father was gone, while I was in Pakistan, she cultivated these interests in me. And once we joined them, I never thought I'd reconnect with these interests. I thought I was gonna go and, I don't know, become a doctor, because that was expected of me, to go to medical school. We ended up in a building with 2 different apartments that our family rented. And we were cut off from nature. I felt cut off and homesick. I remembered our big home in Pakistan was nestled in large cranberry trees. It was beautiful. And here we were on 14 Mile and John R. It was, I never thought I'd hear good music or eat good food, but things started to change in a little bit. I turned on 104.3, oldies 104.3 one day, and I heard Diana Ross and Temptations and Marvin Gaye, and I felt hopeful. My friend, he was black, and he invited me to dinner, and one day his grandma had made cornbread and jambalaya, and I was even more hopeful. And soon enough, I had to admit to myself, I was like, thank God for black people. There was hope. My father worked tirelessly to find a larger living space in the suburbs. And soon after we found a place, we found a house on 12 Mile in DeQuinder in Madison Heights. My oldest brother was diagnosed with cancer, kidney cancer, in 2005, and in 2006 he passed away. My father became a workaholic to numb his pain. My mother could not provide nurturing or guidance to me as a teenager. But I took that opportunity to grow in profound ways. I flourished in school. I made straight A's. I had independence. I could walk home, take the bus, walk home, and do whatever I wanted. And it was a great opportunity. I could cook. I could sew. I could watch TV. I was nerdy, so I watched C-SPAN. Like 15, 16, watching C-SPAN. And it was at that time that I came out to myself as gay. And I felt liberated, but very, very scared of being outed, not just at home, but also at school. Which gives you an idea that the United States is, regardless of how many laws we achieve, which are good, it's still a heteronormative, homophobic society. I made straight A's, and I made my way to Michigan State. I discovered the writings of Dr. Cornel West, who had a profound influence on my life. Dr. West, Cornel West was fiery, and he was passionate. I had actually discovered him at home. I came home, I think it was freshman year, I was at home and I was watching C-SPAN, and it was a State of the Black Union with Tavis Smiley. and he was great. He was unapologetic about his socialist politics. He called America an empire, which was shocking and refreshing all at the same time. I mean, for us in the third world, that just makes sense, but it's a no-brainer. But for a respected intellectual, a Princeton University professor of African American Studies, for him to say that and have an audience applaud, that was quite a bit. It was very refreshing. But there was something else about Cornel West that really stood out for me. He will quote William Butler Yeats. The quote goes, "It takes more courage to examine the dark corners of your own soul than for a soldier to fight on the battlefield." I was inspired by that quote, and I started digging and searching the dark corners of my own soul, and I soon found out that I had to maintain my own integrity as a human being and not be in closet as gay. So by age 21, I came out to my brothers and all my close friends, and I found a lot of acceptance. I was a junior in college, and I was away from home. So it gave me the opportunity to grow and develop my own LGBT identity on my own, and have that identity development process be completely cut off from home. Now I'm in Detroit. I go to graduate school at Wayne State, and I'm closer to home. My parents are still in Madison Heights. I haven't come out to my father yet, and I must admit that I yet haven't given him the chance to accept me for who I am fully. The fact that I'm gay, the fact that I'm not in medical school, never will go to medical school, at least not for the reasons that he wants me to. And that I have a life full of possibilities ahead of me. I will again leave you with this quote by William Butler Yeats. It takes more courage to examine the dark corners of your own soul than it does for a soldier to fight on the battlefield. Thank you.
Qasim Abbas.